Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to a special game according to me. Not only is this a special one for the podcast, but this is also one that we are doing on YouTube as well. So whether you're listening on my podcast or you're watching me right here on YouTube, welcome. And we are going to have a special one today. Today we're talking about my biggest pet peeve for each sport. And what I mean by that is that it is something about football, basketball, baseball, and wrestling that just drives me up a wall. I'm going to just take each one and explain to you why it's my biggest pet peeve and why I think that it shouldn't be this way. So yeah, I think this is something that I think you will enjoy. I think this is something that you might also have with you when you're talking about your biggest pet peeves in sport and what is it and things like that. For a long time, for a lot of people, it was the biggest pet peeve was the baseball all-star thing where that figured out home field advantage. But they've taken that away now, so it's probably now something else as well. So yes. Before we get started, make sure you go to patron.com/AJTrip and become a patron. Once I hit a certain amount of patrons, between all three tiers, I will open it up so that you can vote or select or something like that what you would like to see me talk about on my YouTube channel, what you would like to hear me talk about on my podcast, or what games you would like to see me play on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/AJTRIP20. If you're a gamer and you are not following me, make sure you go over there and follow me. We're going to be doing hopefully some great stuff in the new year. So you definitely want to get in on the ground floor of that. So, all in all, let's get started. So let's start with the National Football League. Or maybe even football in general. This may apply to college football as well, but in particular the National Football League. My biggest pet peeve, and it's been like this for a couple years now, is that we as fans and even commentators and all these things, we are too hard on these QBs. We really are. We give them only 2 years before we say they suck and before we say they're garbage and before we do this and do that and then even when they make it past 2 years and they show that they are good QBs, no, they still suck and they still bad because they don't do it like the best do it. Not everybody can be Aaron Rodgers, not everybody can be Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or anything like that. But from what I've seen, there are good quarterbacks out there. And I think a lot of people see this too. There are good quarterbacks. There are just some that need different things. Yes, guys like Aaron Rodgers, guys like Patrick Mahomes, guys like Russell Wilson. These are guys who are the elite of the elite, and they can carry your team. As long as they are healthy, your team is going to win 12 plus games and have a chance to win a Super Bowl. That's how it is, right? And something like that. Tom Brady used to be like that. He's a little bit older now. I think Tom Brady still is as good as he is. I think he needs more help. Same thing with Drew Brees and same thing with Ben Roethlisberger. Phillip Rivers has probably always been that guy. He's probably always been that guy who probably needed help. He He couldn't carry a team on his back. He was good, possibly even a little bit great. I think I even said that Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer, right? And I do believe that. I do think he is a Hall of Famer. I think at times he has played very, very great, and even been in that elite status. But never won a Super Bowl, things like that, because he also needed help. He needed a run game. He needed a defense. It just couldn't be all him. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't good, or he wasn't good. He's good, definitely a good quarterback. Like I said, I can use him even a Hall of Famer. Matt Ryan is on that borderline Hall of Fame thing. I think the same thing goes for Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, at some points, especially in his MVP year, Matt Ryan looked like the type of quarterback that could carry your team, on his own. Even though he had Julio Jones and had other receivers and had a run game, but at times he did look like that he could carry a team on his back. I think we now know that he can't, especially now as he's getting older. But Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. Cam Newton, right? We see what's he would have with Cam Newton now, and this could be a whole bunch of things. It could be the injuries, and he could now be infected by COVID since he contracted it. There are so many things going on with Cam Newton, but when Cam Newton was at his peak, again he was a quarterback that needed help. Even though he won the MVP, took his team to a Super Bowl, he needed a run game. He needed a defense to make that Super Bowl. He wasn't going to put the team on his back, especially because he did a lot of running as a quarterback. Lamar Jackson, I feel, is that way. He needs help. I think most of these quarterbacks need help. Most of these quarterbacks need some type of help. They need the running game. They need the good to great defense. They need the superstar pass catching wide receivers and tight ends to help you get there. Most of the quarterbacks are like that. I think there may be two quarterbacks in the league that I would say maybe we don't know if they could have been great. If they were put in the right situation, that they could have been the guy that has make them great. But because they didn't have that situation, we never know. I think one is Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford has an elite talent to throw the football. And if Matthew Stafford went anywhere else, you have to wonder if you think that people like that could have been, if people could have been that way. You know what I'm saying? If Matthew Stafford would be a lot better, or if he could have grown into the elite quarterbacking type at his age, and I don't think he's that old either. I think he's only 32. So don't get me wrong. I don't think he's old. He's getting older, but I don't think he's old. I think he's 32, maybe 33. So I think there's still a lot left in him. But I do wonder if he had went somewhere else, if Matthew Stafford could have been the elite quarterback. I think that's one, and I think Joe Flacco is the other. Again, an elite talent to throw the football. That said, he went to Baltimore, which has always been about running the football and playing defense. And Joe Flacco went on the heater of all heaters. He went on the heater of all heaters. Was it 12 touchdowns, no interceptions? The year they won the Super Bowl. 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. Amazing. And he got his Super Bowl. But he's always seemed to have been just above average. Just above, Jay Cutler. And we all know what Jay Cutler is. But he always seemed to be in that Jay Cutler era where it was just, and you looked at it and you wondered if Joe Flacco would have went somewhere that did more with quarterbacks. If Joe Flacco would have been a better quarterback, right? If he went somewhere where he had better receivers, there. If he had a superstar receiver, because he never played with a superstar receiver, really. He never did. He never played with, Ray Rice was a good running back. He wasn't great. Same thing with tight end. Todd Heap was good. not great. So he always had good talent around him, but never any really superstars, you could say. At least none that I'm thinking of right now. Maybe if they are, please let me know. If those on YouTube, put it down in the comment section. Those listening on my podcast, twitter.com/AJTRIP20. Tweet me. Let me know if I'm missing one from Joe Flacco's run in Baltimore. With a superstar pass catching, offensive players. And so I just think he was just always normal. But with his talent, he could have been big time, and he could have been great. So yeah, so I think those are the two that you maybe have questions about. I think the other ones are pretty cut and dry from the past and things like that. So a lot of people, and this is really mainly, I think, when it comes to like people like Kirk Cousins. People will say Kirk Cousins isn't a good quarterback. And yes, while changing your offense to a more predominantly running dominant offense as the Vikings did a couple of years ago, because you felt Kirk Cousins wasn't maybe playing well at the quarterback position, I think what that proved is that once again that he needed, he just needed help. And believe me, he had 2 years. He had two great receivers, and he got a wonderful tight end, and a pretty good defense. But he still couldn't do it on his own. So, but that doesn't mean that he's not a Super Bowl. He can't take Minnesota to the Super Bowl, or he's not a good quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. I felt that same way about Andy Dalton too. I always felt Andy Dalton was almost being bigoted. He's always being bigoted on, because people would make fun of Andy Dalton, call him a bad quarterback, when he wasn't. He was a very good quarterback, very good. But he had a superstar receiver in AJ Green, and he had a superstar tight end who couldn't stay healthy, but superstar tight end in Tyler Eifert. And the defense was so on and off. Like they would have like Saberhagen years. It'd be dominant one year, bad the next. And he didn't necessarily have a really true good running game. I mean, they ran the ball effectively, but they didn't. You wouldn't necessarily say that they had a good running game. But that's what Andy Dalton needed. But I thought Andy Dalton pretty good. He kept taking Cincinnati to the playoffs. He never won a playoff game, true, but he kept taking Cincinnati to the playoffs. Andy Dalton was a good quarterback, but I always felt because he had red hair, people didn't think he was a good quarterback. I'm let's be honest. I know you may say, AJ, come on now, really, because he had red hair. But I'm telling you, if you ever looked on Twitter during a primetime game that Andy Dalton was playing in, all it was redhead jokes. Something about him being redheaded and this and that, or freckles or something like that. And I think that's why people didn't like Andy Dalton, because he was a redhead. I'm telling you. So, but Andy Dalton was a good quarterback, and I think there's some good quarterbacks now like that. And I think Josh Allen is proving that he is a quarterback. Now, I think the Josh Allen thing it's maybe a little bit overblown. Because I think, and it's mainly the guys on Highly Questionable TV show, Dan Le Batard, Bomani Jones, and Dominique Foxworth, who kind of talk about Josh Allen, and they make a point. They make a point that Josh Allen, he's in his third year. He's still learning. He's still learning. But even in his third year, he has grown tremendously from his second year. Tremendously, to the point to where he is a MVP candidate. And yes, he has the most interceptable balls behind Carson Wentz. He's thrown the most interceptable balls, not the most interceptors, but the most interceptable balls for a quarterback behind Carson Wentz. And he has He still has trouble fumbling the ball sometimes. So yes, there's still younger. That still can be taught out of him. He still can grow out of that. And I think those guys, they kind of still say, rightfully so, that could happen. That could happen, because I think a lot of people are just saying, see, he's playing well. Every time the producer, kept saying, do you need to apologize to Josh Allen? Do you need to apologize to Josh Allen? And I think they're saying yes. Josh Allen has been a surprise. Josh Allen is playing well, but let's continue to see his improvement. And until he stops, doing some of those things. And now, on one hand, that may not be. Brett Favre, I would assume Brett Favre always led the league in interceptable balls, because he was a gunslinger, and he threw it in between three defenders or things like that, and things were dropped and everything like that. So that may be Josh Allen, but I think it's there. I think Josh Allen is a budding star in this league, and I think that if you think Josh Allen is not a good quarterback, you think he, or something like that, I don't think you're going to see him, tremendously drop after this year. Next year he's going to be again, throwing 20, 25 interceptions or something like that. I don't think that's it. Again, that's just my opinion. That could happen. I mentioned earlier about Carson Wentz. That's what happened to Carson Wentz. A couple years ago, he was the MVP, and now look at him. He's just turning the ball over like crazy. But again, I still don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's proven he's a good quarterback. He's lost his confidence, and he's just playing bad right now. So yeah, I think right now, really the only quarterbacks that you can say, I know for sure one is bad, and that's quarterback of my team. That's Mitch Trubisky. He's played well the past couple of weeks, but I think he is. I don't think he's a suitable quarterback. I think if you gave him superstar receivers, superstar tight end, a great defense, and a running game, he's still not going to get you the win. He's still not going to get. He's still not going to win. He's just not. He's not going to show you. I think there's some Sam Darnold maybe that way because of the thing, something like that. There's a lot of other quarterbacks, some of the younger quarterbacks in the league that might be that way as well. As I try to quickly go through, like, I don't know if Drew Lock is in his second year, so you don't know. Daniel Jones he's in his third year, and he hasn't, or is he in his second year? Either or, whatever year he's in, he still has some problems. Washington benched Dwayne Haskins, for Cal Allen, and then Cal Allen got hurt, and they brought in Alex Smith, and Alex Smith was playing. So, who knows about Jameis? Jameis can curtail his intercepting. I think that Jameis might be a big time. He might be the big time thing, because you really could know to throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions and throw for 5,000 yards. You just don't know. Could you teach him to get rid of the interceptions? Because if you teach him to get rid of that, again, he would be the perfect one that I'm talking about. He's got enough talent to throw for 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns in a year. Just cut those interceptions in half. Go from 30 to 15. Give him a running game. Give him a defense. You're in the Super Bowl, baby. You're in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I think Taysom Hill is another one. I think Taysom Hill has shown in these 4 games that he can play the quarterback position. But again, he's going to need Michael Thomas. He's going to need Emmanuel Sanders. He's going to need Jared Cook and Alvin Kamara you know, and, you know, on his team. He's gonna need that damn good defense of New Orleans Saints. But he can play in this league. Taysom Hill can play in this league. He's just not some utility player he's got a great arm. He's not. He's a quarterback. So yeah, that's my pet peeve for football. We're just too hard on quarterbacks nowadays, you know, and I don't think there needs to be. I think you can be a good quarterback without having to be an elite quarterback, or I should say, you can be a Super Bowl winning quarterback without being an elite quarterback, and it doesn't make you a game manager or less than. You get my drift. My biggest pet peeve for basketball is star efforts. And what I mean by star efforts is I'm talking about fans and organizations alike who they only thing they see is the stars. We're gonna get a star. Star. You know, buy a star, there a star, everywhere a star, right? And what I mean by that is that they don't try to build a team necessarily. And I don't know if it's you know them I should blame or if it's the players. Players I can blame, because ever since the big three in Miami, ever since they got together, that's what this league has become. It's become teaming up with two other stars to create a super team of sorts and try to win championships, right? So, you know, we've had them in Miami, even though they only won two. They won 2 out of 4. You know, and we've had you know, like we've had people, then we had like, you know, LeBron going with Kyrie and Kevin Love in Cleveland. They won 1, but the reason they won 1 is because the Warriors added Kevin Durant, and they won, you know, two straight from them. You know, and then, you know, there was the whole, you know, other things, you know, it's being made now we have the Lakers, we have Davis and Davis and James and the Lakers, we have Leonard and George on the Clippers, we've got Kyrie and Kevin Durant on the Nets, you know, and now James Harden wants to go to the Nets, James Harden wants to go to Philly and play with Simmons and Embiid and everything like that. So what happened? So because of all of this happening, because all of this and being like people wanting to team up and play with each other, I think not only fans being star efforts is probably, you know, it's probably normal, because, you know, you want to say that you can have a star on your team or 2 stars on your team. It would be cool to say that, right? So fans being star efforts, it's almost normal. It's almost relative, right? But the organizations being star efforts is one. Like you just sit up and you just, you know, you just can't, you can't now. I'm not gonna blame Golden State, right? I'm not gonna blame Golden State for signing Kevin Durant in a year when the TV contract was signed, which means the thing went up and they had enough cap space to get Kevin Durant and bring him into a team that already had won 73 games, a team with 2 Hall of Famers in Clay and Steph, a potential, you know, multi-time All-Star in Draymond Green, you know, and other good players around. A quality guy with Andre Iguodala, to bring in one of the best players in the league in Kevin Durant. I'm not going to get down on Golden State and call them star efforts for doing so. But it just seems like but that does seem like that's all other teams want to do. At least all the teams in the bigger cities, right? That's what New York wants to do. The Knicks, you know, the Knicks, they just all they do. They try to when a big free agency is coming up, they try to clear as much cap space as they can to sign superstars, and it's never happened. Right? It's never happened. They haven't signed one big free agent. They haven't. You know, Brooklyn did it, and but they've done it this past year. Obviously, they did it with, and they've signed a couple years ago, Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and DeAndre Jordan, if you want to call him that as well. They signed those guys. Philly drafted their guys. They drafted. They drafted Simmons and drafted Embiid, and they tried to trade or sign for people in the way Al Horford, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris. They tried to get people to go along with them. So they tried to do all this. Miami, they again, we said it. It started there originally, or at least the second version of it. Because the original version, I guess you could say, was the Boston. Boston had they had Paul Pierce. They traded for Kevin Durant and Ray Allen. Built a big three, had a team around them. They won a championship. And I think that's where the idea for James and Bosh and Wade to do came. Really, it's from that. It's from that. So that happened. And to some extent, Kobe wanted it too. Kobe he wanted his team. He wanted to get Paul Gasol. He wanted to have his people around him. But I also think that he also know he also needed a team. He needed the other players around him as well as team. It almost seems as if that these organizations just say, just if I can get this star and I can get this star and get maybe somehow get another star, get me a three, cluster of three, I can sign anybody else. Yada yada yada, and we will win. And that's I don't think that's how it goes. I don't think that's how it goes. You have to truly build a team. Truly build a team. And I think that's why Golden State gets a lot of love, because they built a team. They drafted Draymond and Clay and Steph and other guys, and then they've put them around them. And now they've got, and they traded for Jamal Wiggins. I don't know who Jamal Wiggins is. They've traded for Andrew Wiggins. They've drafted recently Weissman, the center. So they got a center. They got Clay has hurt himself again. So maybe not this year, but maybe next year when Clay comes back. Again, you could be talking about the Golden State Warriors as a true title contender team that built their team. The Denver Nuggets have built their team. They have, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, and they got Michael Porter Jr., who could be one of the biggest steals of all time. And they've had other ones, Gary Harris Jr. and many other players that can fit into their system, and they've built a good team as well. And you can do it like that. You don't have to be a star effort. Now you have to draft the right people, right? For instance, I am a Bulls fan, and I listen to a lot of Chicago radio, and the Chicago people we are some of the biggest star efforts around. All we talk about is getting a star, and part of that is because the organization in the past had not drafted well. They're not drafted these star players. And even right now, you look at our team. I think that we got some people who could be really stars. I think Zach LaVine is a star. The question about Zach LaVine is, what is he? Is he a three who needs two other bigger players? Is he a two who can complement a one, or will he grow into a one and that could happen? And I think that's what we're gonna find out this year, because some people think maybe Jim Boylan was holding him back. So will he grow into the one with Billy Donovan, or is he just a two or a three? All the young guys, some of the young guys we have stars. Can develop into stars? What is it? But but because of the weather, because Illinois has very high taxes, very high tax thing for people who make millions of dollars as those people do, and probably in the Jordan shadow, without question, you can turn away some people from signing with Chicago, as a form of free agency. As the date of this recording, we've got Giannis has re-upped with Milwaukee, so he's off the free agent market. He's not going to be a free agent. Jimmy Lillard signed a contract. He's not, since he was Portland, he's not going to be a free agent. So there are two guys who, if you were hoping that maybe would want to go against a place like Chicago, or if you're down in Miami, a place like Miami, that's not going to happen. So what are you going to do? How are you going to do this? And I think the only thing you can do is just build, draft and develop your own. You can't be star athletes. You have to draft and build a team. Do you need a star? Yes. Do you need two? Probably. I think you at least need I think it says you need a superstar type player, and then you need an all-star player at the very least, right? Or you can have three all-stars. Like for instance, I just talked about Denver. I'm not sure that Jokic, Murray, or Porter Jr. are superstars yet. They played like it. In particular, Jamal Murray played like a superstar in the playoffs last year, but I don't know if he is one. But I think all three are, without question, all-star talent levels. And Portland is a good example as well. Damian Lillard is a superstar, without question. C.J. McCollum is an all-star. And if Jokic, it's in Nikola Jokic, right? Oh, Jesus Christ, all these names. If Jokic can come back healthy, for Portland, I think he can be a good player as well, all-star type center as well, and they're in the mix as well. So there's so many things that could happen. You look down in Houston, John Wall, I think, is an all-star. DeMarcus Cousins is an all-star. James Harden is a superstar. Yes, now who knows if James Harden really wants to play? But that could be someone. That could be a team as well. So there's a lot of teams. So you don't necessarily have to try to go out looking. Now, do you need stars? Yes, but you don't have to go out and just say we're just going to. Again, I put in the Knicks. We're just going to do this until until free agency comes, and then we're signed stars. That's not going to happen. You need to go out. You need to try to develop your own stars, find your own stars in the draft, anything like that. And then if something comes across the free agency or anything like that, yes, go out and get them. Or at least go out and try to get them. But to just focus on the stars and, like I say, be a star effort is not going to win you a championship. Let's go to Major League Baseball. And my pet peeve for this one, I think is a lot of people's pet peeve, honestly, and that's the analytics. And all we have to do is look past this last World Series. Blake Snell is pitching a gem of a game against the Los Angeles Dodgers, but because analytics say that he starts to lose something and batters start to hit him better after the third time through, it's just immediately time to take him out of the game when he gets to the third time around. And they lost. For me as a fan, I would much rather have the starting pitcher lose the game than to have start to lose his stuff and lose the game that way, than have a game who's pitching the gym, get taken out early, and then have the bullpen lose it. Because so it's and all the analytics stuff they talk about. I think all of it is garbage. It's I don't want to say all of it is garbage. Here's my thing of it. You live and die by it. That's what I hate about it. It seems like the people in baseball are starting to live and die by the analytics, right? And that's why the game is. I feel like it's in a situation that it is right now. We now have these things where we have 3 true outcomes, right? Strikeout, walk, home run. And anything else is bad, or not, or whatever. And this stupid notion that batting average doesn't matter, and on base percentage is more important. Well, no, it's not. No, it's not. Yes. You want to tell me that you walk, right? Yeah, okay, that's fine. Sure, if you want people who can take walks, that's fine. But you also want somebody who can hit the ball, and not just over the fence. Sure, it's good to hit the ball over the fence, but they should be able to hit the ball into the field as well. Because guess what? You can walk your ass to first base, but the next batter ain't gonna walk his ass home. The next batter gonna hit him home. He can hit a double in the gap. The guy can score from first if he's got average to above average speed. Gets a good jump. You're not gonna score from first on a walk. So don't give me that bullshit about batting average doesn't matter. Bullshit. It does. And all these other stats that that supposedly are now into where there's no the ERA doesn't matter. It's like the P whatever. I don't know. I don't care either. I really don't care. Or that wins for pitchers don't matter. That's wins for pitchers for wins do matter. Yes, it does. Especially when it comes to when it comes to free agency and arbitration. Hell, I pitched 33. I pitched 33 times last year. I won 22 of those games. That matters. Don't tell me that my 22 wins didn't matter. It did. That's 2/3 of the game I pitched in. I won. Our team won. So don't give me that. Don't give me that. So all these baseball analytics it's ridiculous. Listen, I'm not saying that they're not useful. They can be, and it's certain situations you have to meld them between. You need to meld the analytics with the gut feeling and everything like that, and that's why I'm glad Tony La Russa is back. I'm glad Tony La Russa is back into the game. I'm not a White Sox fan. I'm a Cubs fan, but I'm going to be really focused on the White Sox this year, especially because Tony La Russa, he wants to bring that back. He wants to bring back that old school, that gut feeling, while melding that with the analytics. So yes, this guy hits this way in certain situations. But you know what? I got a good feeling. I got a feeling that my guy can get that dude out. So I'm gonna keep my pitch in, right? I'm gonna keep my pitch in, or I'm not gonna pitch hit. I'm not gonna pitch hit him because he's he's such and such against lefties. No. He's 3 of 3 today. 3 of 3. 2-run, home run, whatever. He's having a great day. Bases loaded. I'm not taking him out. He's 3 for 3. I don't care if analytics say he's not good in this spot against lefties out of the pen, or lefties who throw 96 or harder. Nah, you keep him in. So I hope that comes back. Even Theo Epstein has said we've gone too far with analytics. We need to bring it back a little bit. Analytics should be melded in with everything. It should be it should be a part of the whole thing. When it comes down to it, it should just be about playing the damn game. And things that happen. And if your pitcher is pitching the hell out of the ball, just because he's going, until the third time through, doesn't mean that you need to take him out. No matter what the past says, no matter what the future says, let him continue to pitch the damn game. That's what I want. And I know that's what you guys want too. And also, let me ask you this. Baseball has a young people problem, and it has a black people problem, right? Not a lot of black people are watching baseball as they did in the past. It dwindles every year, and the same thing. The average age of people who watch baseball goes up every year. For instance, I think in 2005, the average age of a baseball watcher was 48. In 2015, it was 58. Meaning it's the same people is watching it, but and they're getting older. So that means right now the average age would be 63. Now I don't think that's the case right now in 2020 and going into 2021. That I don't think that's the average age. I think it's probably actually around 50 now. So it's actually kind of gone down. But you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? It's so if you want to get the young players, I think that's something that you have to do. You have to get rid of these analytics. And I think that could help the game. And lastly, but not least, when it comes to wrestling, my biggest pet peeve right now, and I originally had down here the WWE critics, but I'm actually going to put in here the ridiculousness of the AEW, WWE critiquing and process and watching and everything like that. To me, it has gone way too far. It is one thing for you to be excited about a new product that is coming to the wrestling landscape in AEW, and excited to see what it's going to be, what it could do, anything like that. But after a year of AEW being on the television, right, and being in there and watching it, are you really going to sit up here and tell me that the stuff that you see on AEW is not the same stuff that you see on WWE? Just maybe done in a different way, or done done whatever. But it's the same old shit, right? Shit. But when AEW does it, it's innovative, it's fresh, it's wonderful, it's gold. And WWE does it, it's boring, and it's frustrating, and it sucks, and all of this, and it's so sickening to watch. It is so sickening to watch, because I actually know I'm watching. I try to watch everything. I try to watch everything: Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW Dynamite. I don't watch Dark. But I try to watch those 4 shows that you see on television. And to me, it is without question, there is a no-brainer that the WWE stuff is better than the AEW stuff. That doesn't mean that the AEW stuff is bad, because it isn't. Have they done bad shit? Yes. Dinner Debonair, I have no idea what the fuck that was. I have no idea what some of this other stuff that happens. I don't know why I see Jelly Janela and Sunny Kiss on my screen. I don't know why Orange Cassidy is in main event segments. I don't know why Marco Stunt is on my TV screen, and if you think I sound like Jim Cornette, I'm going to be honest with you. That's because that we both agree on all of this shit. We both agree on all of this shit. They should not be nowhere near close to the wrestling ring. Now that being said, when it comes to the Young Bucks, when it comes to Kenny Omega, at least, even though I may not get them, and I may not be fans of them, I'm not like Jim Cornette in the fact that I don't think they should be wrestling. I think they should be. If they want to be, they have more talent. I can see more talent in the ring than these other people. So them being in the ring and being champions, I have no problem with. I don't get them personally. I'm not fans of them. But okay, they're the champions. So what? It's their company. But that's neither here nor there. That's one on from the whole Jim Cornette thing. But anyway, but see, the thing I think is that if there were things that AEW that WWE would do, it's done by WWE, then it would just totally be ripped apart by the fans. Oh, you can't believe it! I can't believe this! I can't believe that! But if AEW would do it, holy shit, that was some good shit, wasn't it? They be all Vince McMahon like, that's some good shit. And that's what, and that's one of the things that has pissed me off. Now, the reason why I originally had down here WWE critics is because I do think people take WWE critique way too far. They're so frustrated about everything that happens. And so, and even the most recent thing, right? Vince McMahon has said that he wants some of his bigger guys to go down on their off days, Tuesday and Thursday, to get a little bit more training, to get a little more fine tuning, right? It seems to be all of the bigger guys, almost AJ Styles' new bodyguard, right? Dabba-Kato, who was doing all of the Raw Underground stuff. Who's the other one? Dio Madden, who is Mace in Retribution on Raw. He wanted him to go. He wanted Otis to go because Otis maybe did some things that maybe looked a little bit unsafe in the ring. And they asked Keith Lee to go. And people get all upset in the world. Why would you send Keith Lee there? Why would you send Keith Lee? Keith Lee's the greatest. Keith Lee's this and Keith Lee's that. And to me, it's like, first of all, Shane Helms, he said it perfectly. He said, just because you made it to the top doesn't mean that you just stop. You even go better to get better, to try to be perfect. And then I remember there was one tweet also that says, I don't get Vince. Keith Lee is so magnetic. He is a heavyweight who moves like a cruiserweight. Well, maybe that's the big thing, right? Maybe as a heavyweight he shouldn't be a heavyweight. Maybe as a heavyweight he should, he shouldn't be a cruiserweight. He should be a heavyweight, right? You remember about a month or so ago, he had a match. I forget who exactly he was against, and he tried to dive, and he didn't go all the way. And when he flipped over the rope, he hit the back of his head on the apron. Scary stuff. I know people are gonna say, well, Jeff Hardy just hit his head on the back of the stairs doing the swan time. Well, Jeff Hardy is a light heavyweight, borderline cruiserweight, right? And so him doing flips of the things are probably something he shouldn't do, but he's going to do them because that's what it's there. That shouldn't be done, and it definitely shouldn't be done on an episode of Raw. If you're gonna have Keith Lee do a dive, it should be on a pay-per-view, on one of the big pay-per-views, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, having him do a dive like that, just to spark the crowd. That's what you want. You don't want it on an episode of Raw and he hits his head on the back of the apron. So yes, we're not trying to take away Keith Lee's ability, but maybe just say, hey, save those dives for some of the bigger shows. Right now, when you're on Raw, when you're on some of the other pay-per-views, yes, wrestle like a big man. power moves. I don't know if they want Keith Lee to, just do like a bear hug on somebody for forever, or do chokehold, or do chokeholds or rest holds or things like that. I don't think that's what he's asking Keith Lee or any of these big guys to do. Because you can be a big guy and wrestle and battle like a big guy and still be entertaining and fun and everything like that. Big guys don't need to have to just jump over the high rope or jump off the top or be doing hurricane runners and things like that. You know what I'm saying? That stuff doesn't need to happen. So, but all the fans get upset. They started taking WWE for Taz and Vince McMahon for Taz for doing it. And they do it for everything. They always get some type of critique for everything. And in fact, I was just tweeting about this in the morning, earlier today. Somebody was talking about WWE and what they've done in the past and things like that. And we were talking about some of the things that WWE has done, and and have we gone too far? And I said yes. We could go back. Somebody tweeted, can't we just go back to where we watched the television? We just watched wrestling, and enjoy it. And I said we could, but that's not what fans are nowadays. And I use Game of Thrones as an example. Game of Thrones had this big thing, and they had this last season, and they did what they, I guess what they wanted to do, right? They did what they wanted to do. They were doing what they thought was the best for their show, and to the best way to end their story. And apparently the fans, that's not what the fans wanted. The fans wanted the story to be something else and go another way. And they got upset at that. And because of that, they couldn't enjoy what was there. I bet now, I'm not a Game of Thrones fan. In fact, I didn't even watch it. I'm not going to watch it ever. But I'm sure that if you get out of yourself, and you just watched it and not had any really expectations of what you wanted, and just watched it, I bet you probably could have enjoyed what was on the screen when it came to Game of Thrones. That's the same thing with WWE. You can just what you may want is one thing. I want certain things to happen that don't happen in WWE, but I still watch it and I'm still entertained by a lot of it. A lot of it. It's not as bad as people think. People just think, oh, it's so bad and it's so awful. No, it's not. It isn't. It's primarily both Raw and don't get me wrong, Raw and SmackDown and NXT, they can have off shows, but for me, it's once in a while. Most of their shows are average to above average. There are some good shows, and then there are even some great shows a lot of times. But it's average to above average, and that's perfectly fine. That's probably maybe the way it should be. And what I mean by above average, that you're entertained by the stuff on the thing. Storylines are progressed and things like that, and things happen, in a way that you can see maybe where it's heading. And so I think all of those are all of that is happening in WWE, but I don't think people see that. And when it comes to AEW, I think people, they have this, they just don't see it. I watch a lot of wrestling. I watch a lot of wrestling YouTube. I do. And I watch a lot of Wrestle Talk, and I like what they do with Wrestle Talk. I think it's always been good. It's funny. It's funny guys, primarily Luke and Ollie. Really funny. I think got a great chemistry. I love what Luke and Denise have been doing, on the podcast. Denise Sato, who works with Fightful Wrestling. So I've enjoyed that. It's very that's become my favorite stuff. Their little podcast on Fridays. So I like wrestling talk. It's a really good thing. If I think if you a wrestling fan and you're not watching them, go watch them. Go subscribe to them and go click the notification bell so that you can get all their videos, right? All that good stuff. Put them over. But one of the things that I recently have really had a problem with is just the absolute hypocrisy that they use when it comes to WWE and AEW. There's things that happen on WWE that they rip apart, rip to shreds. And the same thing would happen on AEW, and they would give them the benefit of the doubt. And they would call it good and everything like that, and it is total bullshit. Total bullshit. And you guys know me, I hate hypocrisy, and I cannot stand that. I cannot stand that. If you're going to say that AEW has a plan for everything, and they are heading and they are doing long-term booking, fine. Okay, that if you feel like that, that's okay. If you're going to say that, fine. But then don't sit up here and say that when WWE says that they have a plan, you question it, or you decide to you say no, it doesn't happen. It's not happening. Like the thing with Retribution, right? Like this couldn't have been a plan, right? This couldn't have been a plan, all along for Ali to be a guy that leads a group, right? Now, maybe it's not what they intended, maybe it's not, what it is right now, where it looks like they are, a joke, for a lot of things, with losing a lot of their first matches. I'm with everybody else. I don't know why. If you think there's something special, why would you have them lose their matches or anything like that? But why couldn't Ali have been the leader of Retribution? All along. Why couldn't he have been? Why didn't it just? Well, it's just they just decided one day that Monday that Ali was going to be the leader. But they decided that it's going to be long term for this, whatever this is on AEW. That it's decided long term that what they're going to do for somebody. Over here, it's I can't stand it. I really can't. I can't stand it. And it's not just them, it's everybody. It's people on the Twitter and it's everybody. They suck the taint of AEW so hard, and they really don't need to. They've had a good first year, okay, and the rating and the ratings have been they beat NXT, but like Ali Davis from Bristol Talk has said several times these past couple of weeks, just because something is new doesn't mean something is good. And in fact, I even did a video about the Emperor's New Clothes, talking about AEW and WWE. Because there's more than ever, to me, and I actually think to a lot of people, actually, to the minority. I would say that usually the term is vocal minority when you talk about we usually talk about hatred or anything like that. And I would agree. I think the love for AEW is a majority. I think it's a majority, and I think they are very vocal. But I don't think it's a lot. I think maybe it's like 55%, and that 45% that doesn't see it doesn't see they see something, but they also see the flaws with AEW. I think they are starting to become vocal as well. They're becoming vocal. So right now there's a vocal majority, but I think the vocal minority is starting to happen as well. And so yes, it is just the critiques of WWE and the hypocrisy between AEW and WWE and the fans and the talk show hosts and everything like that. Oh, it just gets on my fucking nerves. Alright, for those of y'all listening on the podcast, thank you guys so much for listening. Again, you go to anchor.fm under AJTRIP show. If you want to support me through anchor.fm, you can. There are 3 tiers of 99 cents, $4.99 and $9.99. You don't have to, but if you just feel like that I want this podcast to continue, I like what this guy does, I like to hear him I want to support this guy, get on the ground floor on something that could be big, then go ahead and do so. I would appreciate it. And even if you don't, still I appreciate you just for listening. That helps me out as well. So thank you guys so much for listening. Now, for those of you guys on YouTube, post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about my pet peeves. What are yours? Do you have any comments on mine? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know down in the comment section. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.